Today, this is our lesson number 9 from the study guide 2026 edition. So this is a complete course in which we will cover Life in the UK test book, which is the 2026 edition. This is the image of the book, the latest version. Okay. There are 8 chapters in the book, and chapters 1, 7, and 8 are not tested. We only have to learn and understand and cover chapters 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, because these are the chapters from which you will have questions in the exam. If you have the study guide, fine. If you don't have, you can buy it. If you don't want to buy it, you can maybe get it from the library. And the benefit of having the book would be that I would show you page numbers, and on those page numbers we will only focus on the main important things, and I will highlight and you can highlight as well. If you don't have the book, that's fine, no problem. You can still use my videos to prepare for your exam. So today is an extremely important lesson, because we are going to talk about the House of Tudors and Stuarts, and this is very interesting at the same time. Okay, so in the last lesson we learned that after the Wars of Roses, Henry VII became the King of England, and he was from the House of Tudors. Okay, so religious conflict. So first of all, let's look at that. After his victory in the Wars of Roses, Henry VII wanted to make sure that England remained peaceful and that his position as the king was secure. So I'm reading from this bit. So obviously the king tried, because they had been fighting for 30 years, so now he tried to make the country peaceful and try to do some nice work. He deliberately strengthened the central administration of England and reduced the power of nobles. This is important. The question could be, which king tried to reduce the power of nobles? And then you know that this is Henry VII. He was thrifty and built up the monarchy financial reserves. He was a very clever person, and he tried to accumulate money, because if the government has the money, then obviously it has the power. When he died, his son Henry VIII continued the policy of centralizing power. So when he died, his son Henry VIII, this guy, he became the King of England, and he also tried to centralize the power, which means that he tried to control most of the things and reduce the power of nobles, which means the parliament. Henry VIII was most famous for breaking away from the Church of Rome and marrying 6 times. Now that is something which is important. Okay, so the question could be, how many times Henry VIII married? So it is 6 times. So he was the person who broke away from the Church of Rome. Okay, so it was the religion of England was Roman Catholic, and he was somebody who broke away from the Church of Rome because he wanted to marry more than once, and the Church of the Roman Catholic Church did not allow that. So he broke away from the church so that he could marry, because he wanted a son, basically. So that's why. So we will look at that. So the 6 wives of Henry VIII. This is an extremely important topic, and you will have always a question about that. Right. So why did he want to marry? Because he wanted to. Okay, we will come back to his 6 wives, but first of all, obviously, read the story as it continues. To divorce his first wife, Henry needed the approval of the Pope. So from the last page, when we said he broke away from the Church of Rome, which means Catholic Church. So why did he break it? What was the reason behind that? He wanted to divorce his first wife. Henry needed the approval of the Pope, who was the head of the Catholic Church, Roman Church. When the Pope refused, Henry established the Church of England. Okay, this is important. The question is, who established the Church of England? So the answer would be Henry VIII. Okay. In this new church, the king, not the Pope, would be the power to appoint bishops in order to how people would worship. So when he created the Church of England, he himself was the head of this church, because he would appoint bishops and priests and popes. So it means that everybody was in his control. So he was controlling basically the Pope, he was controlling the priests, he was controlling the archbishops and everybody. So that's why he wanted a separate church so that he could marry. Otherwise, Catholic Church would not allow him to marry. Right. So at the same time, the Reformation was happening across Europe. So Reformation means when people were moving away from Roman Church, Roman Catholic Church, and trying to be free of the Catholic Church. Why? Because they thought that the Roman Catholic Church was becoming corrupt. At the same time, Reformation was happening across Europe. This was a movement against the authority of the Pope and the ideas and practices of Roman Catholic Church. Pope was very, very powerful. So whatever the Pope would say, nobody could say no. So people wanted freedom. People wanted to move away. The Protestants formed their own churches. Okay, they read the Bible in their own language and instead of Latin. So the Church of Rome would insist that everybody should read the Bible in Latin language, which was the original language of the Bible. But they said, why would we speak? Read it in Latin when we speak a different language. So that's why they were fed up with this Roman Catholic Church, and then they decided to make their own church, and those people were known as the Protestants because they protested against the authority of the Pope, and they did not pray to saints or at shrines. So they would say, okay, why would we pray to saints and shrines? Why not straight away pray to God? And they believed that a person's own relationship with God was more important than submitting to the authority of the church. So this is what they believed. Protestant ideas gradually gained strength in England, Wales, and Scotland during the 16th century. This is a £1 billion question. Okay, this one. So the question would be, in which century Protestant ideas gained strength in England, Scotland, and Wales? So the answer would be 16th century. It could be in true or false. It could be in options. For example, the question would be, in the 16th centuries, Protestant church was famous in which 3 countries? And then you will have 4 options. And then you have to choose England, Scotland, and Wales. Okay. And it would be also a question why people wanted to move away from the Church of Rome. So because they were fed up with the power of Pope. Okay. So that was the story. In Ireland, however, attempts by the English to impose Protestantism alongside efforts to introduce the English system of laws led to rebellion from the Irish chieftains, and much brutal fighting followed. Okay, now what happened was King Henry VIII, he tried to impose Protestantism, okay, not the Catholic Church, but they were very staunch Catholic. They refused. They said, we don't want this new church. We want to stick to the old church. And because of that, there were religious fights, and they fought against each other. Okay, now let's come back to, so this was why Henry VIII separated himself from the Church of Rome and established his own church, because he wanted to obviously control everything. All right, so let's look at the 6 wives of Henry VIII. Number 1 is Catherine of Aragon. Catherine was a Spanish princess, and she and Henry had a number of children, but only Mary survived. Okay, so question would be, Catherine was a Spanish princess, Catherine was a German princess, Catherine was an Italian princess, whatever. So your answer would be Spanish princess. Okay, so she had many children, but one survived, and her name was Mary, which means she was the eldest. When Catherine was too old to give another child, Henry decided to divorce her, hoping that another wife would give him a son to be his heir. So he wanted another wife so that he can have somebody, so he can have a son who could be the king, because in those days women were not made queens. Okay, so next he married, and obviously to divorce Catherine he needed approval from the Pope, and Pope refused. So that's why. Anne Boleyn was English. She was Henry she and Henry had one daughter, Elizabeth. Okay, again, daughter, no son yet. Anne was unpopular in country and was accused of taking lovers. So she was executed at the Tower of London. Now, Anne was very beautiful, and she was accused that she had other lovers as well, apart from the king. So when king heard these stories, he was angry and he executed. I mean, obviously, he did not execute himself, but he ordered his execution. So after Anne Boleyn, so Catherine gave birth to Mary. Anne Boleyn gave birth to Elizabeth, and both of these will become queens after that. You remember that. Jane Seymour. Henry married Jane after Anne Boleyn's execution. She gave Henry the son he wanted, Edward, but she died shortly after the birth. So it was Jane Seymour who gave Henry a son, and the son's name was Edward. So now Henry had three children: Mary, the eldest one; Elizabeth, the middle one; Edward, the youngest one. But she died as well, okay, after the birth. Okay, so now because he is free from the Church of Rome, so he's now marrying Anne of Cleves. Anne was a German princess. Henry married her for political reasons, but divorced soon after. So see that he can marry, he can divorce whenever he wants. But Anne was a German princess. Okay, remember that. Sometimes the question is, Anne was a German princess or a Spanish princess. So one was Spanish, Catherine; one was German; two English, Catherine Howard. Catherine Howard was a cousin of Anne Boleyn. She was also accused of taking lovers and executed. So two of Henry's wives were executed. Catherine Parr. Catherine Parr was a widow and who married Henry late in his life. She survived him and married again, but died after. So now we can understand. So there were three Catherines: Catherine Aragon, Catherine Howard, Catherine Parr. There was two Annes, Anne Boleyn and Anne of Cleves, and there was one Jane, only one. And this one gave Henry the son, Edward. Okay, so you have to remember these things. During the reign of Henry VIII, Wales became formally united with England by the Act of the Government of Wales. The Welsh, okay, this is important. It was during the Henry's reign that Wales became part of England officially after the Act for the Government of Wales. The Welsh sent representatives to the House of Commons, and the Welsh legal system was formed. Okay, Henry VIII was succeeded by his son Edward VI. So this is the youngest one, yeah, of his children. So when Henry died, Edward VI became the king, who was strongly Protestant. Now it's very, very interesting. So Henry's father, Henry VII, was Catholic. Henry VIII, Protestant. Edward VI, very strongly Protestant. During his reign, the Book of Common Prayers was written to be used in the Church of England. That's important. So the question is, during whose reign Book of Common Prayers was written and read in the Church of England? So it was Edward VI. A version of this book is still used in some churches today. Edward died at the age of 15 after ruling for just 6 years. So he died 6 years. It means that he was the king at the age of 11. And his half-sister Mary became queen. Half-sister because the father was common, the mom was different. So Mary was a devout Catholic and persecuted Protestants. Okay, so father Protestant, Edward very strong Protestant, but Mary extremely devout, strong Catholic, and she persecuted. For this reason, she became known as Bloody Mary, because she would burn people. Mary had died after a short reign, and next monarch was her half-sister Elizabeth, and the daughter of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. So during Mary's reign, she would burn anyone who was Protestant and kill people. So that's why she's known as Bloody Mary. Okay. So after Bloody Mary, she did not reign for a very long time. Then her half-sister Elizabeth, who was the daughter of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, became the queen. So sometimes the question is Elizabeth, about Elizabeth's parents. So who were Elizabeth's parents? So Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. Or simply, who was Elizabeth's mom? It was Anne Boleyn who was executed. So Elizabeth won. So this is up to this point we are done. In our next lesson we will talk about Elizabeth I. Okay, so now your homework is to stop the video here and then try to answer these questions. As always I say, do not write the questions, don't waste your time. Read the questions, answer the questions in your notebook, and then check how many answers you have correct and how many are wrong. The ones that are wrong, it means you are not fully prepared for them. So just go back and try to read those bits again and then try to answer those questions. So when you have 10 on 10 correct, means you have learned these pages very well. Okay, in this way you will understand the whole book and then you'll be able to pass your test. So thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and I wish you all the best. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments and I will answer the questions. All right, take care. Bye. See you next time.